A terrifying horror movie is back, The Light and Fire of the Demon. This story is based on the only real exorcism case recognized by the Vatican. It is said that the real-life inspiration for the female lead still works as an exorcist. The film is full of high-energy scenes throughout. Hurry and watch it with your friends. The story begins in Rome in 1835. To protect the world from demons and evil spirits, the Vatican decided to build a special school to teach exorcism. This was to gain more power to fight against demons. But according to old traditions, only men could study exorcism. Women were completely forbidden. As time passed, the number of demons grew, and their powers became more evil. Humans possessed by demons would either become disabled or, in severe cases, fall into endless hell. Faced with such immense and terrifying power, the church felt somewhat powerless. They also knew that if this continued, the whole world would face an unprecedented crisis. For this reason, they broke tradition for the first time and began admitting students from outside the school, not only to let more people learn exorcism, but they also recruited some nuns to care for those possessed by demons. Little May was one of them. Although May was just a girl, she was determined to become an exorcist, because when May was a child, her mother was possessed by a demon. One moment she was fine. The next, she became increasingly restless. In the end, her mother lost her mind completely. She started hitting the door with her head as if she would come in the next moment to kill her daughter. After this incident, her mother could not endure the daily torment and could not forgive herself for hurting her daughter repeatedly, so she chose to commit suicide. Her mother's experience gave May a compassionate heart. She vowed to become an exorcist and save those possessed by demons. While working as a nun at the exorcism school, May carefully cared for patients possessed by demons. She also often watched various exorcism cases. One day, while May was cleaning an old man's body, a strange thing happened. The liquid in his used bag suddenly rose visibly. The old man's blood gradually filled the bag, but May did not notice this at all and continued cleaning him. Soon after, she suddenly heard a familiar melody coming from the old man's mouth. May was terrified because this was the same song her mother hummed when possessed by a demon. At the same time, a burnt bloodstain appeared on the old man's body. The hospital speaker played that familiar melody again. May tried to run, but the door slammed shut instantly. No matter how she knocked, it was useless. As she panicked, the lights in the room started flickering rapidly. When May turned around, the demon suddenly grabbed her wrist and pulled her into a romantic waltz. As her dance became more frantic, the lights flickered even more violently, almost as if they were about to explode. In desperation, May let out a scream. Unexpectedly, this scream temporarily drove the demon out of the old man's body. After this incident, to prevent May from being targeted by the demon, the school decided to send her back to the convent. But the old man saw May's actions and recognized her potential to become a great exorcist. Instead of sending Choti May back to the convent, it was decided to train her as a female exorcist. After some discussions in the school, they decided to promote Choti May specially. Choti May was very excited to hear the news. To achieve her dream, she studied theory even harder. When she had almost finished learning, she finally faced her first exorcism ceremony. She never expected that the subject of the exorcism would be the little girl she had always cared for. Two priests entered the girl's room carefully, holding the Bible and a cross, but as the girl turned her head, both of them froze in fear. The girl's eyes were dark, her face covered with bruises, and even her bones seemed dislocated. Seeing this, they could only shakily start reading the Bible, but the demon raised two fingers to block its ears. It was showing its teeth and roaring wildly. The priests continued to read the Bible, but as the lights flickered, the room suddenly went completely dark. The demon jumped down directly. The priests were too scared to make a sound, and could only watch as the demon reached the window. First, it stared at Choti May with a blank face. Then, its expression became terrifying. It covered its eyes with its hands. Choti May did not understand what it was doing. In the next second, two huge bloody wounds appeared on the girl's hands. Some strange eyes kept emerging from them. Seeing this, the old priest immediately realized it was a provocation by the demon. He decided to handle the ghost himself, but his skill was like a coach just warming up. Before he could read many Bible verses, the demon hiding under the bed grabbed his ankle and knocked him down instantly. The nearby priest rushed forward and then saw another terrifying scene. The situation became so serious that everyone there was powerless against the demon. But Choti May entered at this moment. She knew that the demon had possessed the girl's body, so she decided to use another method to awaken the girl's soul. After some chanting, the girl finally regained consciousness and begged Choti May to save her. But the demon seemed to hear her plea and possessed her body again. The two priests immediately pulled at the hair coming out of the girl's mouth. The old priest and Chotimei continued reciting the Bible together. As the Bible's power spread through the room, the lights flickered repeatedly. The demon inside the girl began to struggle violently. After this exorcism, Chotimei became famous in one battle. Her story naturally attracted a man named Choti Shuai. Many years ago, Choti Shuai's sister had a miscarriage due to an accident and could never have children again. She felt guilty and performed a ritual to summon spirits. The demon entered the woman's body to punish her and ease her guilt, but she didn't know that the longer the demon stayed inside her, the more unbearable and painful her life would become. Now the situation was so bad that it was as if one of her feet had already stepped into hell. To save his sister, Xiao Shuai secretly went to Xiao Mei to see if she could help. Hearing that someone sought her out, Xiao Mei felt a little proud. Without consulting the church first, she followed Xiao Shuai to the house. As soon as she entered, Xiao Mei saw the woman lying on the bed, pale and lifeless. No matter what she tried, there was no response. It wasn't until she sprinkled holy water on the woman's forehead that she showed a little reaction. Seeing this, Xiao Mei lifted the woman's blanket to begin her exorcism. As soon as she applied holy water to the woman's stomach, the woman's eyes widened and the candlelight in the room went out instantly. Before Xiao Mei could react, the next moment, with a hysterical scream, the woman's stomach visibly swelled, as if it might burst at any second. Eventually, the demon even controlled the fan and smashed the nearby mirror violently. Seeing this terrifying scene, Xiao Mei panicked, but she had come this far, so she forced herself to calm down and tried to soothe the woman. No matter what she said, the demon kept moving around inside the woman's stomach. So Xiao Mei asked Xiao Shuai to read the Bible, and combined with her calming words, the woman's swollen stomach gradually returned to normal. After this, Xiao Mei's unauthorized exorcism was discovered by the school. For the school, exorcism was an extremely careful ceremony. One small mistake could send someone to endless hell. Xiao Mei's actions clearly violated the school's strict rules. Therefore, the school decided to remove her from her position and send her back to her previous post. But shortly after, Xiao Shuai came to her again. He told Xiao Mei that the little girl she had exorcised before was attacked by the demon again. Even if all the priests in the school joined forces, they could not deal with such a powerful demon. Helplessly, they had to send the girl to the Vatican for help from the church. But as soon as they started moving, the demon inside the girl awakened again. The priest was about to read the Bible, but the demon gave a look, and the cross instantly burst into flames. The driver had no choice but to return and bring her back to the school again. When Xiao Shuai opened the door, he saw the little girl completely covered in blood, with dead bodies lying beside her. Additionally, the girl handed Xiao Shuai a necklace and asked him to give it to Xiao Mei. Hearing this and seeing the necklace in his hand, Xiao Mei was filled with sorrow. Then, an unknown past unfolded. Years ago, Xiao Mei, being young and naive, had relationships with multiple men, which resulted in her becoming pregnant. But she didn't know who the child's father was. Xiao Mei knew that, in her current situation, she had no ability to raise the child, so she gave the child to someone else. That necklace was the only item she gave to her child. Now Xiao Mei understood that the girl possessed by the demon was actually her own daughter. The girl felt abandoned and held a grudge against Xiao Mei for many years. This strong resentment finally attracted a powerful demon. The demon first possessed the mother, torturing her day and night. After tormenting the mother to death, the demon targeted Xiao Mei's daughter. To protect her daughter, Xiao Mei decided to rescue her. But Xiao Shuai told her that the demon inside the girl had become too strong to control. Now she was already locked in the school's basement. The place had very strict security. No one could enter without permission. Even so, Xiao Mei decided to go there alone, and to thank her for her previous help, Xiao Shuai risked getting expelled and took her to the deepest part of the basement. As soon as they found the girl locked inside a cell, 3 priests suddenly appeared to stop them. They told Xiao Mei to leave immediately and not to linger here again, but the sound of their voices made the demon a little impatient. Xiao Mei just waved her hand, and the 3 priests were instantly sent to hell. Seeing this terrifying scene, Xiao Mei realized that all of this was caused by her daughter's hatred toward her, so she kept apologizing to her daughter, and also begged the demon to leave her daughter alone. As soon as she finished speaking, the demon gave an evil smile, but after possessing Xiao Mei, she completely lost her self-awareness. Her eyes turned black, her body twisted, and she floated upright in the air. Seeing this, Xiao Shuai immediately picked up the girl and ran as fast as he could, but the next moment, the iron gate slammed shut with a loud bang. With no choice, Xiao Shuai put the girl down first, then carefully took out a cross to confront the demon, but the demon only moved its neck. and Xiao Shui was instantly thrown 2 li away. Finally, the demon targeted the nearby little girl. It grabbed her like a chick, lifted her easily, and tightly choked her neck. The girl had no strength to resist, only calling out "Mom" again and again. At that moment, the mother's voice suddenly echoed in her ears. Looking at the necklace in her hand, and listening to the voices of the two, Xiao Mei regained a trace of self-awareness. But to prevent the demon from taking over again, she immediately twisted her ankle and held the cross on her forehead. After a fierce struggle, the lights in the basement finally came on. Using her own strength, Xiao Mei successfully defeated the powerful demon inside her. At the end of the story, her daughter forgave Xiao Mei's mistakes. The mother and daughter reunited, and because Xiao Mei defeated the demon alone, she was sent to the Vatican for further study. But as she was leaving by car, at a crowded intersection, a strange old lady suddenly appeared. Even the driver started acting strangely. Looking at everything in front of her, Xiao Mei realized something was wrong. She was about to get out and escape, but it was clear that the demon inside her had not truly disappeared. It was still lurking inside her, waiting for the next right opportunity. Alright, that's it for today's story. See you next time.